Welcome to an installment of Right Stuff. I'm Matt Otremba, and in this video presentation, we're going to cover how to go from a topic to a thesis statement. And the objectives of the presentation are to distinguish topics from thesis statements, identify qualities of a strong thesis statement, and then examine some sample thesis statements that put these ideas into practice. So the first thing we need to cover are topics. Topics are subjects or broad concepts. Um, Frequently, you are presented with these in assignment prompts, and example could be write about various childcare options. Maybe you're an early childhood education major, and this is something that was given in an assignment from one of your instructors. Now, that's a very broad topic. Uh, Oftentimes, your instructor is asking you, expecting you to narrow that focus. How you do that is usually after you've done some pre-writing and preliminary research, you've gone to the library, you've looked at some databases and journal articles, you've gone to some credible websites, and then you start brainstorming, you cluster, you do some pre-writing to generate a narrower topic. And so an example of a narrower topic for childcare options might be the benefits and downsides of center-based childcare versus home daycare. Again, this is just one example, but it's narrowing the focus. Eventually, you're going to turn to the composition stage. You're going to start composing your essay, and you're going to have to generate a thesis statement. Now, a thesis statement doesn't necessarily have to come before you write your essay. It can come after you've done some writing, and sometimes that's a great way as you discover what the thesis is. You start writing paragraphs. But on either case, you're going to need to develop that statement, that main idea. And there are some things you want to avoid when it comes to thesis statements. One of those things is that you avoid merely just stating your topic. If you said something like this essay will examine different types of childcare, it's not doing enough to provide a specific focus or claim that warrants further discussion. And so you really want to just avoid merely stating your topic. You also want to avoid questions. Questions are great. They're a great way to get into an essay, and sometimes you can even include them, and they would lead to a thesis statement. But you want to avoid simply using questions as your thesis. You want it to be a claim, a statement. Also, you want to avoid facts. Facts are great for supporting details and information to back up your claims, but facts often are not arguable. They are not something that warrants further discussion necessarily, and so you want to avoid those as thesis statements. And so an example of a fact might be center-based childcare is a popular option for working parents. It's just very obvious, and there's nothing really arguable or about that statement. So what is a good or strong thesis statement? Well, as I alluded to in the last slide, a thesis statement that is a claim that warrants further discussion or provides direction for an essay is a strong thesis statement. Again, it really needs to be something that you can have, you can spend a couple paragraphs talking about, but it also should be something that forecasts and provides that direction for what is going to come. It leads to certain expectations. And this is especially true for informative essays, exploratory essays, compare and contrast essays, essays where you might not be asked to take a position on something. Now, if you are asked to take a position on something, you want to make sure that a statement, a good thesis statement, is a statement or claim that is arguable and takes a stand. Your position is present. And this is true in argumentative essays, persuasive essays, and evaluative essays. And ideally, you would want to make, this is the direction you want to move toward for a thesis statement. The more you can get to that position where it's arguable and takes a stand, the stronger the thesis statement. But again, some types of thesis essays might not ask you to do that. So let's look at this in practice. So again, topic might be childcare options. Narrower topic might be the benefits and downsides of center-based versus home daycare. And then your thesis could be something like this. Even though home daycare is typically more economical and offers a nurturing environment, center-based childcare should be the preferred option for early childhood education because it gives children a structured curriculum to prepare them academically and provides children with essential socialization skills. Now, there's a lot in that statement, but it does the things that we're looking for. It is a statement on something that warrants further discussion and provides direction. This thesis forecasts the main points that are going to follow, right? Home daycare is more economical. It's a nurturing environment. We will see these things elaborated on in the body of the essay. It is also something that takes a position, takes a stand, and is arguable. So here is a thesis that does the things that you should be looking for in your own thesis statement.